Last time, I told you the story of Prince Estabrook, the first black soldier wounded at Lexington, and the quiet courage that marched with him into history. But just weeks later, another name would rise from the smoke of battle. And this time, not just as a participant, but as a hero. His name was Salem Poor. Born into slavery in Massachusetts around 1747, Salem Poor purchased his own freedom in his early 20s for the sum of 27 pounds. That was a tremendous amount at the time. He built a life as a free man. He married and worked hard to stay above the tide. But in 1775, when the call to arms came, he didn't hesitate. He enlisted in the Massachusetts militia and marched toward one of the fiercest battles of the early Revolution, Bunker Hill. June 17th, 1775. The hills outside Boston erupt with cannon fire. The British are advancing. Row upon row of redcoats determined to break the colonial lines on Breed's Hill. Patriot forces vastly outnumbered dig in. In the chaos of musket fire and shouted orders, one man stands out, not just in presence, but in action. Salem Poor fights with such skill, such ferocity, and such determination that when the smoke clears and the British retreat, bleeding and stunned, 14 colonial officers do something almost unheard of. They write a formal petition singling out Poor by name. It says, "The reward due to so great and distinguished a character we submit to the Congress." Signed by 14 officers, December 1775. This was more than praise. It was recognition in ink, rare and powerful for any enlisted man, but especially for a black man in 1775. We don't know every detail of what Salem Poor did that day. Some reports credit him with mortally wounding a British lieutenant. Others speak of his steady courage under fire. What we do know is that something about his presence in that battle moved men to write him into history. Salem Poor would go on to serve through the war at Saratoga, Monmouth, and possibly Valley Forge. But like so many, he returned to a difficult life after the fighting ended. His name faded from the headlines, but never from the record. His actions at Bunker Hill remind us that sometimes valor forces the world to look up. Sometimes history pauses and remembers. Next time on Black Revolutionaries, he writes Sermons for Liberty. We meet a preacher soldier whose pen and sword both served the cause.